Okay. Kristen.
Josh, thanks. I want to be very specific about what the President has said in terms of putting boots on the ground in Syria, and he actually didn't even use the term combat. He said on September 10th, 2013, quote, "I will not put American boots on the ground in Syria." So with this announcement today, isn't he effectively breaking that promise to the American people?
Kristen, in September of 2013, the President was receiving questions about what the United States was prepared to do, given our insistence that President Assad had to go, that he'd lost legitimacy to lead. And the President was making the point that he was not prepared to put boots on the ground to take down the Assad regime. Again, that is precisely the mistake that the previous administration made in implementing a regime change policy against Iraq and putting U.S. forces in a large-scale, long-term ground combat operation to try to take down Saddam Hussein. That did not serve the interests of the United States, and in some ways we're still paying the price for that mistake. So what the quote that you pulled there is a very different situation.
But he said definitively he was not going to put boots on the ground. We've heard him reiterate that same idea multiple times, that he wouldn't put boots on the ground in Syria.
Well, again, you've read one quote that, to be fair, is out of context. The situation that the President has described is a description of the kind of mission that our men and women in uniform will have in our counter-ISIL campaign.
But he's consistently said he's not going to put boots on the ground, Josh. You don't deny that. He's consistently said that. Well, that would not be a part of this strategy.
Well, again, Kristen, the only quote that you've read to me is a quote from 2013. That was a direct question related to what we were prepared to do to ensure that our concerns about the Assad regime and the need for regime change were implemented. And the fact is, the President said we're not going to implement a military strategy to take down Bashar al-Assad. What we want to do is we want to build the capacity of local forces to make sure that they can be focused on ISIL. And that's the strategy that the President's been focused on here. And when the President has talked about combat situations, the President has been quite clear that he does not contemplate a large-scale, long-term ground combat operation either in Iraq or in Syria. That was his policy at the beginning of our counter-ISIL operations, and it's our strategy today.
You have acknowledged that these forces, these less than 50 forces, could be in dangerous situations, could wind up in combat roles. So given that, how is that not a change in strategy?
Because our strategy all along has been focused on building the capacity of local forces to fight these fights against ISIL for themselves in their own country. And our efforts to resupply them, to re-equip them, to conduct airstrikes in advance of their ground operations and in coordination with their ground operations have improved their performance on the battlefield. That element of our strategy to build their capacity has yielded progress, and so the President wants to intensify that assistance that we're providing, and one way you can intensify that is to pair them up with experts, with some of the smartest, bravest, most effective fighters in the United States military, and that's exactly what we're doing. And I do expect that will improve their performance on the battlefield.
These U.S. forces could be in combat roles; their lives could be at risk. Correct?
Well, they will not be in a combat mission. Their mission is.
And that's not their mission, but they could find themselves in a combat situation, just as we saw with the rescue mission.
There is no denying the amount of risk that they are taking on here, and they will be equipped to defend themselves if necessary. I'm confident that the Department of Defense has contingency plans to try to make them as safe as possible in a very dangerous part of the world, and it is a good reminder of the appreciation that we need to have